This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Saturday here. I'm China Green. This morning on Sunrise, a wildfire that is burning close to the reservoir that provides water for much of our area. Plus, some Republican senators are suing Oregon Secretary of State, and the Hood to Coast relay teams are now making their way to Seaside. We talked to runners about why the love of the challenge happens. But before we get to all of that, let's check in with meteorologist Sarah Bagby for our first look at the Saturday forecast. We've kind of been all over the map here when it comes to weather this week. What are we expected for this weekend?
Thank you, China. Yeah, it is kind of going to be interesting for the Hood to Coast runners because it's a little hazy out there from the wildfires, but we are going to cool things down after a little bit of heat. So currently we're waking up to some comfortable temperatures, a little bit warm last night, and it's going to warm up a little bit today. Now, some of you are excited about the rain, but we have this low pressure that's been just hanging off the coast for a little while, but you'll notice it does inch into our coast, and it will cool things off for us just a little bit by tomorrow, so the runners will get a little bit of cooling time. Now, my big concern are the wildfires and the air quality out there. I want you to take a look at what's happening. We do have so many wildfires in our area that there is an air quality effect in today, so if you have allergies or any concerns there, be aware of it. I wanted to bring up this map so you can see we don't have the worst of it. I mean, look at the southern part of the region of the U.S. Wildfires are taking over. It's normal in the summer, but this is a little bit much for us even this time of year. So be prepared today for a hazy day. We're looking at temperatures coming up to the mid-90s in Portland, but we are going to have warmer evenings as well. Now, the good news is it is going to cool off by Sunday, and then we'll have a little bit of rain come in for the next week.
All right, Sarah, thank you for that. So this morning we are keeping an eye on a few wildfires that were sparked by lightning during the thunderstorms Thursday night. You probably heard them. The first is burning near the water supply for much of our area. The Camp Creek fire is now estimated to be 100 acres. It's burning in the Bull Run watershed in Clackamas County. The flames are on U.S. Forest Service land. Right now there are no structures threatened. There are also no evacuations at this time. And while it's about a mile from the Bull Run Reservoir, Portland water officials want to reassure people that the water supply remains safe to drink, and there are no plans at this point to switch water supplies. Meanwhile, our region has hit with some 1,600 lightning strikes Thursday into Friday. One of them also sparked another small blaze near the Lookout fire in Lane County. Last update we got here, the new fire was just a couple acres in size. With the lightning forestry officials are asking people to be more careful than ever that they don't add to the fire burden. They're reminding you that debris burning is prohibited on all forest land. You should also make sure your car doesn't have any faulty parts that may create sparks. And remember to also completely put out campfires in areas where they're allowed. A group of Republican state senators are reportedly suing Oregon Secretary of State, challenging her decision to stop them and others from running for re-election. So that's according to OPB and Willamette Week. This comes less than a month after LaVon Griffin Valade said that she intended to enforce Measure 113. Now, this measure bars lawmakers with 10 or more unexcused absences in a session from running again. GOP senators say that the language in the voter-approved measure was ambiguous. Griffin Valade says that the intention was clear. And one of Oregon's top House Democrats is set to face a recall vote. The Secretary of State says enough signatures have been collected to force an October 3rd recall election for State Representative Paul Holvey of Eugene. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union targeted Holvey, a former union rep, after the House Labor Committee, which he chairs, tabled a bill that would have allowed cannabis workers to unionize. Holvey was first elected in 2004. Oregon's last successful recall was in 1988. Students in Portland head back to school next week, and this year some middle school students will find a change in the form of new campus security. So they're not the school resource officers the district got rid of a few years back. They're not law enforcement, and they won't be carrying a gun. They're called Campus Safety Associates, and they're already been present at high schools. School administrators say each middle school will now have a CSA who patrols campus during the school day. There will also be Rover Associates who monitor K-5 and K-8 schools. Meanwhile, high schools will have additional security staff who will work longer hours than a year ago.
They're the trusted adult for students. They're oftentimes the first face that students see as they arrive to school.
The change is a part of 13 recommendations from the Superintendent's Safety and Security Task Force. Now, some major changes are also coming to Tri-Met bus routes starting Sunday. Route 54 between Beaverton and Hillsdale Highway will become a frequent service line with arrivals every 15 minutes. A number of other lines will gain more frequent service with some routes adjustments. However, all of the 60 number lines serving Markham Hill will be discontinued because of low ridership. But definitely check out trimet.org for all of those route changes we just mentioned. It is the mother of all relays underway right now. Teams ran through the night on their way from Mount Hood all the way to the Oregon coast. They'll start crossing the finish line in Seaside this morning. Our Ashley Graham's caught up with some of the competitors who told us why they keep coming back year after year.
Some hand off the baton with a smile on their face.
Such good energy. It's just so positive. I just love everything about it. It's so good.
Others are wondering how they'll make it to the finish line.
I might be too old for this.
As runners make their way to downtown Portland, everyone knows you've got to be a little crazy to sign up for this race.
We are about something crazy, no question.
Most racers get little sleep over the 2 days as they run over a dozen miles. Each of them with their own reason for lacing up a pair of running shoes.
All hanging out together for decades at this point, so still doing it now and running is absolutely the best part.
We run hard, we play hard, and it's a bit of a family reunion. We get to see all our friends every once a year.
And for some, this race is for those who are no longer with us.
This one's for my dad.
For all the teams, Hood to Coast is about the people.
One of my very best friends, Jessica.
Running with the Multnomah Athletic Club.
My boss lady.
Many of these runners still have a long way to go as they race towards the coast.
One more leg left? Two? Oh, yeah, I got 2 left.
KGW has her own team running the race right now. Ashley caught up with our own Alma McCarty yesterday as they were passing through Portland. Check it out.
And ran into one of KGW's own, Alma. She just finished the race. How are you feeling right now?
Oh my gosh, it was so much harder than I expected for this one because it was so sunny, but we did it. We got it done. Dude, we got it done.
We are rooting for you, Alma, and the rest of the KGW team. The finish site is right around the corner. All right, so we are about 15 minutes away from sunrise on this Saturday morning. Sarah will be back with your forecast for the week soon. But first, it is a first-of-kind setup in Oregon. What you'll find inside these tents that will be set up in spots around the state to save lives in an emergency.